Coffee, a bit of a hoarse voice. I went to the Glendy, you know, the big Greek party over the weekend, which was sensational. But anyway, you pay for it afterwards, don't you? Thank you, sir. That means I stand here. We know how it works. And they're the questions that you answered, and we'll read those out during the panel. And now, the letters for this evening are these. First one tonight, is it a phase that he's going through? My sister tells me that she knows people in their 30s who are still doing this. What is she talking about? It's a bit of a problem nowadays. Second letter tonight, there's no question in my mind that Prince Charles is not suited to become the next monarch. Well, who are we, all these miles away, to adjudicate on the monarch, the next monarch of another nation? Silly. I don't even know why they've written it. Matilda of Swanbourne, WA. Oh, yes, of course. And the last letter tonight, what a fizog. Did any of the panellists really take a solid interest in... Stay tuned, you'll find out what we're talking about. Sweet and sour with all the panellists coming up right now. Don't go away. Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
Pour some sugar on there, baby.
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Caught me having my coffee. Welcome to Sweet and Sour. Thank you, audience. Lovely to have your company. Gary Mitchell with you for the next half hour. And a whole bunch of mates as well.
Yay.
Yay. Yay. Yay to have Harry in as well. Has the market moved in a week?
Oh, no, it hasn't, unfortunately. No, it hasn't. It's still fairly calm
How
out
long's
there.
it going to go like that for you?
I think until this Royal Commission is finished. Oh, that's for sure. Anyway,
Can we drag that out?
yeah,
Can we drag that out?
I think they'll drag it out. I think it's going to go past Christmas.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. They've only got one Royal Commission.
They're only dealing with the banks. They're only dealing with the A's at the moment. They haven't even got into the B's, C's or D's.
They're going to find funding for the... Are you following this Royal Commission, Yvonne?
Not intently, no. I mean, I see dribs and drabs of it when I do my news reading and things like that.
You
but,
will.
yeah.
Wait another 15 years. Welcome to the show. Hello, Deanna.
Hello.
What are you doing? Lovely colour hair.
Do you like it?
I do like it.
Do you know, I went to my hairdresser and got this done.
Can we get a close-up? Can you see Deanna's eyes and hair? And...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Very gorgeous.
It's pretty green,
You went to your
isn't it?
hairdresser and...
You've got the whole thing going on. Look at that.
Yeah.
I went to the hairdresser and got them to do this colour like a few months ago, and it lasted for 2 weeks. Cost me $90. I was like, that was a waste of money.
Fantastic.
But I did this myself with an $11 bottle of colour from the supermarket, so
Well,
that's the way to go.
Fantastic.
Officeworks highlighter.
It's texture.
Des did the same thing, but it didn't quite work.
Mine matched too.
Welcome to the show, folks. Here we go, letter one. Dear Sweet and Sour panellists, my son is a gamer. Who's got gamers in their family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's 17 and is his final year at school, but spends most of his spare time sitting stationary at his laptop playing games on the net. He doesn't do much exercise out of what he's forced to do at school, and he complains endlessly about that too. I see what he eats, and when he's on the computer gaming away, and of course it's the easiest thing to wolf down. I cut up fruit and put it on a plate next to him, but for some reason, gaming goes hand in hand with fizzy drinks and chocolate bars. If it's a phase, I'm okay with that, but my sister tells me that she knows people in their 30s who still do the same thing, and apparently in Japan, young people, mostly men, are developing psychological disorders as well as a myriad of health issues because of an addiction to gaming. So please panellists, let me know how I might have my son move on to the next big thing and get healthy, or do you all think it's a fad he's in will pass of its own accord soon? His school studies are being very neglected also, and it comes to us from DR, I don't know what sort of name that is, from Prospect of South Australia. They have a lot of strange names in South Australia, very clicky over there. H.
Maybe DR's a doctor.
Yes.
DR.
Yeah. Yes. Look, I just think he's going through a bit of a phase at the moment. Probably doesn't want to eat because so that if he is in a highly competitive gaming environment, he wants to be on his A-grade game and have no distractions. So that's it. And with the studies, I think you do need to bring back a bit of a timetable and maybe say, look, it's okay if you're going for this time, but you're going to need to spend some time to do some study because it's important. Unless he's a really good gamer, and then he could make a very good living out of gaming. Not just a living, but a very good living. Yeah, there we go.
Can you really?
Oh, you can. Big bucks.
You know that?
I was being sarcastic. Really?
You knew
I
that?
knew a professional gamer. Oh, I know a professional gamer in the US.
What games do you play?
Lego.
No idea. Yeah.
You can be professional.
Yeah, you actually can.
Lego?
Yeah, I think it's
not
probably
bad.
a small market.
Is this a problem common?
I mean, I don't know if it's common. I can only speak anecdotally.
You
but
said to us privately that your man is a gamer.
He is. He really enjoys gaming. That isn't so much of an issue though, because he's a FIFO worker, and so it doesn't really impact his work because he only games when he's actually home. But my brother is also a gamer, and he games so much. It is disgusting. It's repulsive, and he has the same really bad eating habits. But he lives with my parents, and my mum doesn't enforce restrictions,
Enables,
which
right?
she's an enabler.
Enabler.
Yeah. So she needs to put restrictions on the time that he's gaming, or say get out of my house.
Get out of my house.
Yeah.
Totally.
Restrictions up to the parents. Come on.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say. You know, that's what parenting is. Hello. You know, if your kid is living in your house, then make sure there's no fizzy drinks in the house. Make sure there's no crappy food for him to eat. And then if he wants it, he has to get off his butt and go buy it himself.
There you go,
I would
motivation.
too. You know, my dad said to me when I had kids, he said, listen, when they're old enough and you want them to move out of house, just make it worse for them to live at home than to live elsewhere. Charge them rent, make them wash their own clothes, do all that stuff. Eventually, they'll go, well, I might as well live out of home. Do that.
And they do. Daz?
You're drawing a long bow to say that there are people in their 30s who still do the same thing, mostly in Japan, unless you actually restrict some things now. You might, if you let him go, he might turn into that. I don't think that's going to happen. He's 17. Things change. His feet probably stink.
He's not
They won't
doing
stink.
anything for himself
His
yet.
feet won't stink
You're
yet.
doing it all.
Yeah.
And you are an enabler. Who said that? The two of you. Amazing. We asked you people at home this question. Is electronic gaming here to stay? The funny thing is, here's what you said.
Okay.
The funny thing is that 18% of people haven't got with the program.
They think it's where do they think
Oh,
it's
yes.
gonna go?
People over 85 years old.
Where do they think it's going to go
Yeah.
though?
You reckon? I think people over 85 think that it's...
I mean,
And
maybe.
Scientologists
Maybe?
maybe or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Some strange... Yeah, Amish. That's the religion I'm
I
thinking
was
of.
just going to say that. Yeah.
Speaking of people over 85, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Queen.
Oh, Harry's got a crush. Harry's got a crush.
On who? Camilla. When we come back, sweet, who?
Queenie.
Queen. You go straight to the top.
It's time for sweet and sour. Right here on
School, a day and a half later.
Yeah, yeah.
A day and a half.
It's amazing.
But we're on. We're chatting. If you'd like to send us a letter, send it to the address that's appearing on your screen right now, or all the other social media bits. What's that last one on the bottom?
Snapchat down the bottom.
Oh, it's Snapchat down the bottom. The one with a bell. Is it a bell?
Oh, it's a little alien. Yellow
Instagram,
alien.
I recognise. What's the little bird? That's tweet. Twitter.
Even
Facebook. Yeah, okay, all right, okay. So for everyone who does send us a letter and we chat about it here, we're going to send you to the movies, courtesy of who?
Natalie Cameron.
Oh, very good. Who's just had a little bub called Adam. Hello, Adam.
Seriously.
But the movie's not
Too
called
young to
Adam.
vote. No, the movie is called I Feel Pretty.
I feel pretty.
Starring?
So very pretty.
Oh,
Amy Schumer.
oh, dear sweet and sour.
Sorry, did I just change the mood a bit? Yeah, a little bit.
There's no question in my mind that Prince Charles is not suited to become the next monarch.
Shame it's hereditary.
I am convinced that the Queen and palace officials would have already organised. Why do you waste your time thinking about this
Yeah,
stuff?
I wondered that question. That's the question.
That the Queen and palace officials would have already organised for the Crown to move directly to the more acceptable Prince William of Cambridge with his lovely Princess Kate. Oh, she's had a baby recently too. Once QE2 is passed, Camilla would certainly not be acceptable. I'll cut it out. To the public, and just as Wallace Simpson was kept away from the leading role, so too will this dreadful woman. Oh, who are you? Do your panellists think at that point, after the reign of Her Majesty, Prince Charles and Camilla will be offered the Governor-Generalship of Australia, or will some other arrangement be found to accommodate this couple? Matilda of Swanbourne in Western Australia. Deanna, if you say anything except abuse to Matilda, I'm going to poke your eyes out.
do you know what
I'm a Republican, but I'm thinking, what are you talking about, madam?
I don't care either. You know, like the last time I paid any
None of
attention
our
to the
business.
royals was when I had to sing the British national anthem in primary school, which was like 30 plus years ago. I remember
You
the
had to
day.
sing the British
So this is in,
remember
when
when
I
it
was in
changed.
Victoria.
I
Yeah,
remember
that's
when
what
it
I mean. I
changed.
remember the day that it changed, and that's the last time I gave a rat's ass about the royals. I got to tell you, like I
Wow.
just don't care. I don't understand why you spend your time wondering about this stuff. Pay attention to the politics in your own bloody country.
It's a relevance
Jeepers.
question, but I suppose I'm always barking about Donald Trump. So, you know, and he's, you know, in another country, nothing to do
But
with
that's
us either.
debate, right? This is weird gossip.
This is the person who's going to cut the ribbon at something. Maybe if we're lucky, chances are probably not. It'll be someone else that will cut the ribbon on their behalf. Their actual influence on the general politics of the world, zero. Care factor for most people, zero.
Do you know what? You know, apart from that fiasco,
And I support them. I quite like them.
so do I.
Sure.
I like Prince Charles. In spite of that, you know, little affair that shouldn't have been aired.
Can I just also
I
say
like
this
it.
Wallace Simpson thing? Like,
For- how
seriously,
many years
times
ago
have
was that?
changed a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah.
What
Like,
year was
do you-
that? 1936.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pre-World War II. Yeah.
Times have not changed. Who is it? Matilda
I
of
think they
Swanbourne.
have, love.
Harry, do you like Prince Charles?
Absolutely.
You love the Queen.
And the Queen is his mummy, so naturally she should give it to her eldest son,
She's
which
going
is Prince
to.
Charles.
That's
That's it.
She's
That's
going
it.
to.
It's a no-brainer.
You know,
It's an absolute
this
no-brainer.
woman's talking about celebrity status.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? Camilla has been eminently respectful. She hasn't said a word in public.
She's actually come through.
Nothing. She's been
actually come through
terrific.
quite well, given how things could have gone. If you know.
Perhaps, you know.
She's
Very good.
She's proven it. Yeah.
Oh.
As figureheads go, I reckon they're doing it quite
All right,
nicely.
last word to the youngest one on the panel. Do you like Prince Charles? Do you give a rat's
I
about
give
Prince?
0 rats. I absolutely do not care about this question at all. I have nothing relevant to add or to contribute. I don't know if that's a generational thing.
We will be a republic soon. The moment our government officials can get off their ass and do something about it, because we are an independent nation. And we asked you people at home this question. You wanted to say Gary.
You're
What?
assuming anybody cares enough to make the change.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll fade away into obscurity.
You're right. And you know, and they'll do it, you know,
Referendum. Yep.
a long way distant
do it.
because it's irrelevant.
When we're already citizens of America.
Do you think Charles and Camilla will be bypassed in favour of Wills and Kate after the reign of QE2? Believe it or not,
Probably not.
this was your answer.
Oh my goodness.
64%. Yes, but that's based on celebrity.
just-
It's
Yeah,
like
it
asking, do you like Wills and Kate more than Queen and
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is just a popularity vote,
is.
right? That's all that
Yeah.
is.
Charles has just been nominated as the continuing head of the Commonwealth
Yep.
in place of the Queen.
Yep, so-
That was an optional one.
Yep.
And they've given it to
Yeah.
him.
He's
This is how the process
Matilda,
works.
Certainly got lots of
sorry love,
experience,
he's going to be the next monarch if he lives as long as his mum anyway, if she
Well,
doesn't.
that's the trick.
You know,
That's the trick.
he's coming up to 70, so
Wow, is he?
yeah, next birthday he's 70.
Wow.
When we come back, we're not going to be talking about that anymore. We're going to be talking about why all the athletes disappeared from the closing ceremony. We're allowed to talk? Yes, we are. What a fizog. Anyway, more of Sweet and Sour. Don't go away. Hey,
what is
fizog.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary. What's sweet and sour? It's too damn scary.
It's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
We already did.
Cambridge Analytica. Yeah, we've just been
we
talking
ready?
about that.
We
Hi,
ready?
we're on. Hi, Sweet and Sour. What a fizzle. Did any of the panellists really take a solid interest in the Commonwealth Games? Really?
No.
You know, we're so saturated with sport now, everywhere in the media,
Well, I know I am.
that these poor relations to the Olympics just seemed irrelevant to the whole time they were airing. The only time I wanted to watch was to see Kurt Fearnley flag bear for Australia and that didn't get a TV airing.
That makes him sound furry. I'm the flag bearer for Australia. Roar.
Flag bearer. And what about that piss-poor closing ceremony? No wonder all the athletes left the closing event. Not even they could sit through another whipped-up lot of overkill. So I, for one, will no longer be donating any funds to any of the big televised sports anymore. They've gone universal. I'm sick of the overkill. I'm sick of being taken for granted, and I'm sick of constantly forking out and being repaid in empty, superficial, saturated media coverage. How did we get to this point, and how do we get our sports back to being about grassroots involvement rather than big budget bulldust? Len of Clayton writes in from Victoria. Daz, you're first on that one.
Sorry, when was the last time they shook a tin and asked you to put some money into the Olympics or anything? Like, I don't recall the last time I forked out for any big media events just quietly.
Unless you're using Foxtel.
Well, yeah, but we don't get those TV channels, so I'm only forking out for the science fiction, basically, and old comedy.
Well, maybe though, Lynn's talking about all those other charities as well, because it's about sports.
It's burnt you for
so you've got AFL Rattlers, you've got,
Look, I got to say,
junior development.
I don't get necessarily sucked into the whole sporting world. You might be surprised to see that with this physique of mine. I don't,
So much muscle.
Well, absolutely. I'm with you in most ways, and it was pretty sad.
I know that song.
I'm with you in most ways.
Yeah. Wow.
Keep talking.
Sounds like a really insipid hit. It was a pretty piss poor performance for the Commonwealth Games, to be honest. But I don't know. But what else do you expect when it's run by an American production company who probably don't have any idea of what the traditions are of these kind of events? And I guess this is the point why, sadly, outsourcing is not a great way to do anything.
Yeah.
In the long term, it loses the heart and soul of the actual game.
You've got to have an understanding of the history, of the culture of it. And the Americans just wiped it off. Did you watch any of it?
No, none of it.
None
it
of
was
it?
something that I wanted to watch, and I went to watch it, and there was some other thing on it. It was like
Me washing my hair, or
No. It was something really insipid and stupid, some Kardashian style
But you
thing or
watched
something.
that and
you
Instead,
preferred
no,
that?
I turned it off. I specifically turned on the game so that I could watch a particular Australian athlete, and he won gold, and it wasn't even on.
Yeah, how bizarre.
It wasn't even on. But I tell you what, this grassroots involvement thing, the way you get involved in grassroots sport is by going to grassroots sport.
Yeah,
Go
and get
watch
involved.
kids play, right? Go and umpire if there's a sport that you know well. Offer yourself up as a ref. There's sporting clubs all over the country that need your support. Go and hang out with them.
Yeah.
We asked you people at home this question. Did you watch the broadcast of the Commonwealth Games closing ceremony? And your response is?
No!
Only
wow.
9% of people said yes.
Wow.
91% of people had better things to
Goodness
do
me.
that night.
I didn't even click on it on YouTube when the news stories came up. I didn't even see the replay.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you guys watch much of the Commonwealth Games overall anyway?
No.
Some.
I watched the lawn bowls.
Avid watchers? The lawn boat? What did you watch, Harry?
I watched the swimming and the running.
Okay. Swimming.
Swimming
Me
was good.
too. I
Yeah.
did the swimming.
Swimming was good.
Yvonne,
Yes.
fizog, what's going on?
I don't know what fizog means. I'm really curious. I want to know what the
I
word
don't know
actually
either.
means.
But
Yeah.
really it means something that didn't work.
No, okay, right. I actually think that we should have more televised sports. I would personally really like to see more media coverage of disabled sports. There are like a lot of amazing disabled athletes out there, and I would definitely tune in if there was an option to watch it. So
Spread it.
I didn't even know when the
Very
Paralympics
good.
were on. Like I would have like happily watched that, but I just didn't see enough media or
I don't think
advertisement for it.
Really
Wasn't
very
it?
well
Right.
At all. Like
Yeah.
it was barely covered.
Yeah.
I noticed they mixed it in a little with the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
They kind of, but again,
But such little coverage.
yeah.
Little coverage.
Yeah.
H, last word.
The good thing is you now have a milestone to change history. So you can do it better in the future. Obviously this didn't work. This plan about not having the athletes there didn't work. So next time, have the athletes there.
Yeah, you learn.
Correct.
You
Learn from
learn.
your mistakes. Look, if you did get a chance to watch some of it, I mean, a lot of these people have been training for 4 years to get to this point. I think we should just be a little bit more generous for it. That's
What
it.
about his point that we've got so much big televised sport, we're in overkill? What are you still watching?
Look, my two big addictions is motor racing, and that's it. Formula One.
Formula One?
And supercars, that's it.
Supercars. What are you watching?
What am I watching?
What
in
sports
terms
are you
of
watching?
sports?
Yeah.
Well, Commonwealth Games a little bit when that was on. The Olympics when that was on. Yeah. Other than that, not really. I don't really watch sports.
Deanna, what are you watching?
I watch a lot of climbing, actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
But where do you get that? YouTube?
Well, online. So the International Federation of Sports Climbing World Cup is on at the moment, and there's a whole series of events that take place over the next few months, and they stream it live on their website.
So people are actually watching what they're interested in. That's it.
Yeah,
Dad,
that's what I do.
what are you watching? He wins every time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does. Thank God there's some consistency somewhere.
Do you think the Commonwealth Games have got still legs? They're still going to keep going? Still going to keep going?
Yeah. As you know what? As long as there's a Queen. As long as there's a Commonwealth.
Oh, she's 92.
She's
92.
As long as there's a monarchy.
Oh, different question. We've got to go. Good night, H.
Thank you. Good night, Gary.
Nice to see you, mate. Good night, Yvonne.
Good night, Gary.
Good night. Good night, Deanna.
Mitch.
Good night, my darling. Good night, Daz.
Night.
Say good night, Australia. Good night. Thank you, crew.
Thanks,
We've had fun tonight. Good night, everyone. See you next week.
I get the sunrise.
You get the what?
Do I get
We're not giving them away tonight. We didn't like the Commonwealth Games. We didn't like Prince Charles. We liked Harry.